All right, here we go. We are live on Facebook now, on YouTube. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Sunday, June the 8th. Thank you all for joining us. All right, here we go. We are live on Facebook now, on YouTube. I heard my own echo and it wasn't good. All right, here we go. Let's do it again. Today is Sunday, June the 9th. Thank you all for joining us. This is the latest edition of the For a Better Tomorrow Telethon. Telethon is a means for us to share FBT's story and impact with the broader community, our donors, our sponsors, our volunteers, our circle of support that enables For a Better Tomorrow to happen. So to that end, I have a couple of our board members, Siddhi Hindu Rao, Siddhi Wave. Siddhi chairs our Youth Global Citizen YGC committee, and we have Shloka Ravanithala. Shloka chairs our community outreach work efforts. Both are here today to help support and share the story for Fair Better Tomorrow. This time, and I'll introduce the other guest on the call in a few minutes. This time, we've taken a different approach to the telethon. Historically, we've told the story about different things that For a Better Tomorrow does out in the community, from the grants that we give out, the summer youth leadership program that we run, Kite Fest, and other events that we are part of here in McLean County. This time around, we've decided to dedicate all of our time towards the grants that we've given out in the recent past. To that end, we have a couple of guests joining us in the next few minutes just to help us understand and think through the story holistically about who FPT is and what we do. So, before I introduce our first guest, I'm going to share my screen and maybe just talk through some of the FPT story via a few slides. And I'm hoping that we make this a bit more of the impact of the story and the people that we serve through For a Better Tomorrow. As some of you who have not probably participated or worked for a better tomorrow, at the end of the day, we are an organization that raises funds and work with young people to create some good in the world. We do that through a number of fundraisers that we do out in the community. We work with young people through our Summer Youth Leadership Program, YGC. We recognize young people through YICU. And we started a new event called STEAM Olympics, which has been a great addition to the FBT family to raise funds as well. All of these funds go out to global and local causes out here in McLean County, Illinois. This year, from a budget perspective, FBT has made a commitment to give out $66,000 in grants. About two-thirds of those go towards global causes, and a third of those go towards local causes. And the first such cause that we'll be talking about is Action in Africa. And we have Sarah, who's the founder and the executive director for Action in Africa, joining us just to share a bit more about what does Action in Africa do? How do they serve? Who they serve, and what did they do with the grant that they received from For a Better Tomorrow last year? So to that end, Sarah, if I can ask you to come off mute, maybe briefly introduce yourself, tell us about maybe who you are, uh, who Action in Africa is, and what's your purpose and mission.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me today. And just wanted to start by saying we're so tremendously grateful to be a beneficiary of For a Better Tomorrow. Action Africa operates public community centers in Uganda in East Africa. We have a very holistic model that predominantly focuses in the education space, but with that, we have after school programs, medical services, women to women support groups, adult English classes, et cetera, et cetera. So, somewhat comparable to a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club, which we're most familiar with here in the United States. We have developed this comprehensive program that we believe holistically uplifts and encourages the community that we're based in. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary of our first community center. So, we're really proud of that milestone and looking forward to many opportunities for growth on the horizon to scale our model and our impact.
Thanks, Sarah. That's a great comparison about the uh, YWCA or a YMCA. Just it gives one of the things that we've learned through For a Better Tomorrow is when you do global philanthropy, sometimes out of sight, out of mind.
Mm.
So giving that comparison just makes it that much more real in terms of the needs out there in the world are no different from the needs out here in the local communities too. So thank you for that. So one of the things that we've learned through For a Better Tomorrow is that people often ask us, how does a nonprofit that work in Uganda learn about For a Better Tomorrow? How did they know that if For a Better Tomorrow gives out a grant? So how did you connect with FBT and how did you learn about us?
Yeah, we found out about For a Better Tomorrow by doing some basic online research for funding and granting opportunities. We are in an incredible season of growth at the moment, and in order to uphold our budget and our ambitious goals, we really committed this year to looking for new funding opportunities, and we were excited to come across For a Better Tomorrow.
A couple of our board members, Claire Campbell and Vasugadiraju and Christine Holmes, have put in a lot of work getting the word out there through different websites out in the ether, if you may. So I'm glad that the word has reached out to you and the people that you work with as well. So thank you. Um, Sarah, maybe could you shed some more light on the project that you received funding for? Have you completed the project? What outcomes have come out of that project?
Yeah, so we received a grant for the 2025 calendar year. So for us, we're still halfway through the granting cycle with you all. And we were thrilled to receive funding to support one of our beloved programs that's actually been around for about 15 years now. So it's our Women to Women group. And this beloved group is a group of women and mothers and grandmothers and teachers and community members that gather at our community center on a weekly basis. And this program once was started as a support group for moms that were struggling, whether they had health issues or marital issues or struggling with their children or didn't know English or needed help starting a business. So it really started as a foundational women's support group. But these days we have over 100 women who have registered in this group. They gather on a weekly basis. They start with a grounding opportunity of, what are they grateful for and what are they celebrating in their lives? And then we do amazing trainings and opportunities for them to grow in their skill set. So anything from first aid training so that they can take care of their kids in their homes to how to start a business to learning how to make charcoal so that they don't have to pay for it and buy it to starting soap businesses. Um, so a really comprehensive program just to specifically support women and moms who in a country like Uganda are often disenfranchised and not given space to be in community with each other. So some things that we've done so far with this group already, we've had 13 sessions so far this year, anything from some hygiene trainings to parenting classes and techniques to the first aid and business trainings. So it's been a very productive year for us with that one specific program, and we're grateful to receive this financial support for this program. And as I said earlier, we're still halfway through the granting cycle, so we're excited to continue sharing updates for the remainder of the year of the progress and growth of the women. One specific story that I'd love to share as just an example of this intentional space to gather women and uplift them. We found a woman who joined this group many, many years ago. And through the space of joining Action Africa and being a part of this group, she then started to take our adult English class programs and really invested in herself so that she could support her kids with their schooling and their homework. And then became a full-time employee at Action in Africa. So now she has gainful employment and she's able to take care of her kids and her household. And by being an employee at Action in Africa, a part of our benefits package for our employees is scholarships for their kids to go to school. And I had the great pleasure of being in Uganda in October for the graduation of the high school graduation of one of her sons. And she sat behind me and held my hand the entire time and wept out of gratitude because she never thought that not only would she have access to a job like Action in Africa and an education for herself, but then this opportunity for her her kid to go to school and graduate from high school. So that's one of hundreds of stories of how being able to be a part of a group like our Women to Women program can really uplift not just an individual, but an entire household. So again, one of many stories that I could sit here and share today.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared the story, Sarah. I had goosebumps just listening to that perspective too. One of the questions that we tend to get asked from a global philanthropy perspective is, how do you know if the money is making an impact? So stories like these reinforce not only the need that's out there, how much a dollar that leaves stateside can go that much further in assisting humanity out there too. So uh, appreciate you sharing that story. You you're the founder for the organization, so I have maybe a different question for you.
Mm.
So we work with a lot of young people, and many of those young people have aspirations to do philanthropy or be involved from a social service and social justice issues. Maybe could you share your story about how did you end up um, creating the nonprofit? How did that become a part of who you are right now?
Yeah, of course. So I started Action Afra when I was 15 years old. So we've been in operations and existence for 18 years now. I was a sophomore in high school, and our history teacher had showed us a film about kids in Africa with a certain organization and situation. And I grew up in a very wonderful community that was very affluent and community focused and oriented and took care of each other and our kids and prioritized education. And it just really shook me and a couple classmates to our core that there were kids living in these circumstances, like in a place in Uganda. And so it really started as a school project. We decided to raise money for already existing organizations throughout the continent. And we did that for a number of years, and we were tremendously successful doing anything from bake sales to car washes to community concerts. And my senior year of high school, one of the organizations that we were helping fund, we had helped build a library and a widow shelter and a couple other projects, invited us to Uganda to see the work that we had helped fund. So went to Uganda, fell in love with the kids, the schools, the community, and that really was the catalyst for transitioning us from being funders to wanting to be involved in the day-to-day programs and projects and stories and impact. So we today are still in that same beloved community, working with the same families and schools and individuals. Really proud to share that now we're celebrating that a number of the students that we first started working with 15 years ago are now graduates of university. Three of them are actually working for us full time now. So we're very much in this exciting season of seeing our work come full circle and seeing the impact really deep and wide right now. So I think I'm a little bit of a testament to what can happen at a young age. So I'm inspired by the For a Better Tomorrow crew of young philanthropists who are working really hard to make a difference in the world. You never know what it could turn into. This certainly wasn't my life plan, and we love to see things kind of organically evolving and happening. But this definitely wasn't a part of the plan and really just started with a group of high school kids wanting to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that story. Amazing, Sarah. Indeed, at 15, I don't know where I was when I was 15, but we do have a couple of our YGC grads who are our board members at the Shloka. They actually were part of the YGC program when they were in high school. They're college bound and in college right now, but they're both part of the FBT board right now and also chairing different committees too. So it's certainly speaks to the power of the young people and perspectives that they bring to the table as well. Sarah, you were kind enough to share a few pictures with us from your last trip to Uganda, I imagine. Maybe could you maybe shed some light on these pictures and what's going on in these pictures?
Yeah, so this is a great visual for what it looks like at one of our women to women sessions. So they all start by taking a meal together and breaking bread together and just being in community with each other. So this is them gathering for breakfast. And then this is another example of we bring in facilitators. So we commit to bringing in the best of the best experts to talk about things like childcare and financial literacy and first aid training and whatnot. So these are sessions where we've brought in a facilitator to train and teach something of meaning and value. A couple of these pictures are from a variety of different trips. So I love that I get to go to Uganda a couple of times a year to check in and see our team and our staff and the really wonderful programs and just progress that's being made on the ground.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. So one of the purposes with the telethon is to bring to light the work that great nonprofits and grantees like you do out there in the world. Is there one thing that you want our donors and volunteers to learn about global philanthropy and global philanthropic work that often doesn't meet the eye? Something that people wouldn't think of when they think about global work?
Great question. I would just encourage your audience to give and give generously. One of my favorite approaches to philanthropy with donors is you know you're making a meaningful gift when you have to pause and it almost hurts a little bit. It's not a $5 gift that you're going to give, and so you're not getting your Saturday morning coffee, but it's something that's going to be meaningful and cause your family and you to pause and think. And a gift of that size, whatever that looks like for you and your family and your financial circumstances, really can make a drastic difference in a life across the world. Things are rather precarious for organizations on a global scale right now. So now is a time to give and give selflessly and generously to cover a lot of the gaps that are now being presented to us in the environment that we're all operating under right now. So now is the time to make sure that we're taking care of each other as kind of our global commitment. And so that would be my advice and encouragement. And now is the time for people to step up and give, like, for a better tomorrow.
Thank you, Sarah. I want to be at a time. You gave us 20 precious minutes out of your weekend on our Sunday. Thank you so much for doing that. Forward to the partnership and look forward to working with you now and into the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good one now. See ya. Siddhi, Shloka, it sounds like her story is very similar to the YGC story in terms of what we are aspiring for. Anything that resonated with you that you like to share with the audience? Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was really important how she shared that she started this nonprofit when she was 15. And a lot of times you see youth these days who are like, oh, I can't get involved. I'm too young. I don't have these like opportunities and I'm not seen seriously enough. But if you do have that passion and that voice and the ability to invoke change, which we all do, go for it. You don't know what could happen.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
completely agree. I think it was really impressive how she started it so young and how she really evolved and grew her organization throughout the years.
Yeah. Thanks, Siddhi. And which is a shameless plug-in for YGC. YGC is accepting applications for the summer youth leadership program, and the application deadline is July the 15th, I believe. So look up YGC on forbettertomorrow.org/YGC and look forward to working with all of you. Speaking of work and impact in the global community, we have another guest joining us, Isa. Isa, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you. We just wrapped up a conversation, Isa, with Action in Africa. That was a grant that we gave out to a nonprofit out in Uganda. I'll remind all our attend folks who will eventually watch this video to take a snippet from what Sarah shared earlier, give generously so that we can support organizations like Action in Africa. And now we have Isa from Connect Ed joining us to tell the story about the work that Isa does with her nonprofit. Isa, maybe to get us started, I want to maybe turn it over to you to maybe introduce yourself, share a bit about yourself and the nonprofit that you work with.
Thank you, Fanny. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me. It is a real honor to be here. My name is Isa Laporte, and I am the CEO of Connected. We're a small NGO registered in the US and also in Guatemala as a nonprofit association. I am originally from Nicaragua, where Connected started in 2014. And I've been with the organization since 2017, serving in different roles. 3 years ago, I moved to Guatemala, and it's been incredible to witness how we have grown and built a true community of change makers across the region. Um, at Connected, our mission is to strengthen education in rural Central America. Uh, sorry, Latin America now, starting in Nicaragua and currently in Guatemala by supporting local leaders to design and lead projects that respond directly to the needs of their own schools and communities. We are focused on addressing big systemic change challenges that affect education in indigenous and rural communities, such as lack of resources, poor infrastructure, outdated or irrelevant curricula, and limited access to relevant materials. These gaps are made worse by broader issues like poverty, historical exclusion, and even climate change. The ripple effect is huge. Limited education can lead to fewer job opportunities, which then contributes to larger issues like migration and community instability. And while many local educators are deeply committed to change, they often don't have access to the training, to the resources or networks that need to make that change a reality. And that's where we Connected come in. We built the Connected Fellows model, a 2-year program that supports educators who are already rooted in their communities. These fellows receive over 80 hours of training, one-on-one mentorship, and a small seed grant to launch a project based on local needs. Projects range from school nutrition programs, literacy programs, technology access, and infrastructure improvements, among others. But we don't believe in cookie cutter solutions. What makes Connected different is our participatory approach that involves parents, students, teachers, and local leaders in identifying what their school truly needs. By letting the community lead, we build trust, we ensure relevance, and create long-term sustainability because their own community takes care of the projects. I don't know if you have another question, Fanny.
No, this was the backstory is very helpful, Isa. Maybe share a bit about, like you said that you grew up in Nicaragua and now you've made your journey to Guatemala. How did you go about identifying the need out there in Guatemala? What resonated and what
Well,
took you there?
yeah, the needs in all Central American countries are pretty similar. Guatemala's difference is that it has a very uh, big population of indigenous peoples, 22 different ethnic groups that are pretty rooted in their communities and their values and their traditions. So we actually had to leave Guatemala. I'm sorry, Nicaragua, because Nicaragua, there was a political crisis and we couldn't continue working there, unfortunately. And that's why we made an analysis of all the countries in Central America at the time, which was part of our mission, and um, decided to go with Guatemala because the need existed, the conditions, our partners, potential partners. And again, I mean, we thought that our model would be perfect to apply in the setting of indigenous communities.
Gotcha. Isa, how did you learn about the grant funding availability through For a Better Tomorrow?
Yeah, we heard about For a Better Tomorrow through a network of organizations doing similar work in Latin America.
Gotcha.
And as soon as we learned about it and FBT's mission, we saw how aligned it was with our values, and especially to focus on community-led impact.
Gotcha.
The entire experience with FBT has been great, really transparent, thoughtful, and For a Better Tomorrow has been really supportive. And of course, that allows us to focus on what matters the most, which is doing the work with our communities.
Absolutely. Speaking of work, could you talk about the funding that you received, the amount of money that you received, and what did you go about leveraging those funds for?
Yeah, we received, it was 5,000, almost $5,500, $5,450. And what we did is that we bought Samsung Galaxy tablets that went to 17 of the new fellows for this year, for the 2025 year cohort, indigenous educators that joined the program, the 2-year program. And yeah, so they received the 17 tablets that you provided with your grant.
So these educators are educating more people. So it's a gift that could probably have a long-term impact, not just from one class, but multiple classes down the road as well.
Yeah, they actually, well, the tablet becomes a powerful, more multi-purpose tool, because they can use the tablets in their classes. And also the idea is that they use them to plan and manage their school projects, to collect data, impact data from their projects, to track progress and capture photos and videos as, to tell their stories. So they're always sending us feedback with information that they collect with the help of their tablets.
Gotcha.
And they will also use the tablets pretty soon to stay connected through Connect Tech, which is a digital learning platform that's currently under development. And many of these leaders, well, see, the previous leaders that we had, the previous fellows from the past cohorts, we have 69 fellows altogether right now, in working in 68 schools. There are 2 fellows working in 1 school. And so they all have tech device, and the idea is to keep them connected between them as well, for peer learning. And again, I mean, they're free to use it in their classes, and they all do to do research. I mean, there's so many features with these devices that they can use to facilitate their communication. They're documenting their projects for learning, for training. So it's been great for them. Many of these leaders, for many of them, it's actually the first time that they have ever had access to a personal digital device. So we have someone in our team who is actually a previous fellow from the first cohort, the 2020 cohort, I'm sorry, that is helping them come. It's training them on how to use the tablets.
Gotcha.
So this opens up an entirely new possibilities for learning, for leadership, and for community engagement.
Gotcha. For a Better Tomorrow has had a long-standing relationship with the country of Guatemala. This is probably the fifth or the sixth grant that we've given out to nonprofits in Guatemala, and we're very thankful for that partnership. Uh, Isa, you also mentioned about the notion of giving these grants so that you can educate people. For a Better Tomorrow has been a big advocate for teaching people how to fish as opposed to feeding
Mm-hmm.
a day. So again, something else about the project that you do resonates with who we are and our value system as well.
Yeah, of course. We serve indigenous educators, as I mentioned before, working in some of the most remote and underserved areas of Guatemala. This specific cohort, the 2025 cohort of fellows, is directly supporting 4,000 students across that serve 123 communities in 7 departments of the country. As we grow, again, I mean, we have 69 total right now, so that comes to over 17,000 students that are being served by our 68 fellows
Yeah.
across Guatemala. And
I'm so glad you're tracking these metrics to understand your impact. Some of these impact stories could also be quite evident through stories of a person. Is there a story or two that comes to
yeah, of
who
course,
you
we
serving
have,
how?
I mean, just with these particular tablets, it was a surprise to us because that something like this had never happened before. Um, so this captures the heart of this project. Just 2 days after receiving the tablets, we had a 3-day in-person training where we turned in the tablets to the fellows. And Omar, one of our new fellows, used artificial intelligence, which we were like, wow. I mean, obviously he already knew how to use it somehow, I assume. I mean, usually people are curious, so it might have learned right after. I mean, they were so excited when they got the tablets. So he composed the song celebrating connected and the impact of our fellows in their communities. And he wrote the lyrics, used a music app to produce the piece, and then it shared it with us and its peer fellows, and we were like, wow, how did you do that? I mean, he put out like a collage of pictures from what he found about connected on our website, and pictures from that first convening that he attended. They were so happy, and the song is really, really catchy and engaging, and it's really modern, and and it was in Spanish and English, and it talks about the story about from Connected. We're like, wow. And he's doing wonderful stuff with his tablet. We have another fellow. I mean, and I can give you examples of what they they make songs. I mean, apart from what they usually use the tablets, I mean, for work, for reports, for sending evidence of their progress, and I mean, they have learned how to use, for example, Google Forms and stuff like that facilitates their communications and their recording or documenting the impact of their projects. So, I mean, fellows do stuff like there's this young fellow who he was one of the first he belonged to the first cohort, the 2020 cohort, and he was really young, and he wasn't even at the time. We had fellows that were not necessarily teachers or principals of the school. You could be like a education advocate at the from the community. So he entered the program, and his project was about nutrition at the school because they had a pretty bad nutrition problem with the kids, and so he put together his project. He did a lot more than he was supposed to with his project because he got so many people and actors, stakeholders to participate. It was wonderful. And then it was a community that didn't have water at all, and they had to go to a river far away and bring water to their houses and to the schools. The kids needed to bring water to the school in a bottle every day so they could wash their hands and they could cook the school meal. Well, somehow he finished his project and he was invited to join one of the community committees, like indigenous committees. And being so young, because usually those committees are joined by older people, men usually. And somehow they have water now. The whole community has water now.
Yeah.
So it went beyond his education project. And that's in the heart of what we're doing. I mean, we're planting a seed in the community with leaders that are left in the community with tools and strengthened leadership to do more than just the school. I mean, they keep doing stuff in the school, but now they go beyond. And he used to tell me, I remember him telling me, Isa, I mean, they're telling me that I have done more than the last few mayors in the community. That the mayors didn't do anything, and I did. I mean, he was really young. He was just a
Yeah.
recent graduate from the school. So
It's amazing what young people can do and the impact that young people can make in the community. The two individuals that you see on the call right now, Siddhi from our summer youth leadership program, and they're part of our board as well. So, Isa, I want to be respectful of your time. We've really enjoyed collaborating with Connect Ed, and your values, the mission certainly resonates with us. I appreciate you making time on a Monday, connecting with us virtually and being part of the Telethon. So thank you so much, Isa.
thank you for having me. We're proud to walk this journey with For a Better Tomorrow, and we're excited for all that we will continue to build together. Thank you so much.
Yep. Look forward to it, Isa. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. We have Kaylee on the call who'll be up next to talk about our work with lifelong access. Before I bring Kaylee into the call, I certainly want to make a plug-in for Sarah's call to action. Give and give generously. This is the telethon to raise funds for a better tomorrow. The link is tinyurl.com/help FBT. We gave out $50,000 in grants last year. We intend to give $66,000 in grants in 2025. If you haven't considered applying for a grant, our next grant cycle window starts on July 1st, ends on July 30th. We open up our grant cycle first month of the first half of the year, first quarter of the first half of the year. The second quarter is when we assess the grant applications and we give out the grants. You can learn more about us, obviously, on our social media platforms as well as on our website, forbettertomorrow.org. With that, and Kelly Ortega from Lifelong Access. Kelly, if you wouldn't mind coming off mute, maybe start off with first question. Share a bit about yourself and about folks who don't know Lifelong Access. This is the local grant giving that For a Better Tomorrow does here in McLean County, and I want to give the opportunity for you to maybe share a bit about yourself and the organization.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. So, I am the Director of Adult Services at Lifelong Access in Normal. We were established in 1955 by a group of parents who, at the time, there just was no services available for their children who had special needs. And so they created a school. And over the years, we have transformed and grown in so many different ways. We have undergone 3 different name changes. And so at the time, we were Mark. And then we moved on to be Mark Center and then Mark First and now Lifelong Access. So a completely different rebrand to just really capture all of what we do at Lifelong Access. We serve people from birth through end of life. And our mission is to fight for each other and those who cannot fight for themselves and to break down barriers. I've been with the company for almost 7 years now. I started as the Associate Director of Transition, which is our high school transition program. And now in my role as the Director of Adult Services, I oversee the high school transition program, our supported employment program, our community day services program, which is the program that was able to utilize the grant funds from For a Better Tomorrow, and then our supported living program as well.
Thank you, Kelly. So the history of the organization, we've worked with Mark First in our early years of the program, several leaders who have collaborated with us over the years. So we have a long-standing tradition. Kelly, this may be a bit question that I posed to the global nonprofits was, how did you hear about For a Better Tomorrow? Maybe I'll pose the same thing for you, even though you're in McLean County. We do our best to get the word out to local nonprofits. I'm just curious as to how you heard about For a Better Tomorrow for this grant.
Yeah, so we actually have a grants manager, quality assurance grants manager, which is Eric Zadansky, who you do a lot of your communicating with. And then he has an assistant, Jesse Pop. And Jesse is the one who is researching different grant opportunities for us. And Jesse was actually the one who found the grant. And to be transparent, I'm not sure where or how he found it, but I will tell you he came across it very quickly. So there must be a lot of good advertising out there for it because I had asked for a grant opportunity and within a couple of days he came back with this. So it's got to be a lot of advertising going on out there.
Yeah, appreciate that. We're always assessing if the word is spreading in the right circles because we strongly believe in collaborations and partnerships. I'm glad to hear that Jesse found the information. Certainly, Jesse has share. Please do let the group know the next time around because we want to keep doing what we're doing if the word's getting out there. Could you maybe share a bit more about the amount of funding that you received from For a Better Tomorrow and how those funds were used to what end and what outcomes you have achieved with those funds as well?
Yeah, so we received, I think, $5,000 for funding. We used those dollars to purchase tables and chairs for our community day services program, which may seem minimal, like a small thing, but it was actually really nice because we are actively trying to grow our program, which means that we are running out of places for people to sit. Like that was a really big issue for us when we came forward and asked for help from our grants team, was we are literally running out of chairs. And so it was really nice to have the funds to be able to purchase more tables and chairs. We were able to get a lot more matching sets as well, which is really nice because our new space just underwent construction. And so we have this newly constructed the space, and now we have all this nice new furniture in it. We do a lot of classroom type instruction in our groups where we talk about like individual rights, transportation training, internet safety, money management, healthy relationships. And so having a space where people can sit and look through workbooks and complete different activities and things like that has been really nice and continuing to further our program. In addition, we purchased a recumbent bike, which has been really nice. There's one person in particular who I see on it all the time. She just gets a little bit overwhelmed in the group, and we have that recumbent bike out in a like a shared space where she can go out there and sit on it, and it's typically a little bit quieter out there, and so she'll just go and sit. She also really likes people watching, so it's nice for her because it's right in view of the door, so she gets to see everybody coming and going. And then that's also been a really big selling point as we are bringing new families in to tour our space, is when they see that bike, they always think that's really cool. It's always like a conversation topic because they'll ask like, oh, I see you have this bike here, so how are you guys with exercise and incorporating that? And so I get to talk about how we have that bike available to people and other ways that we encourage that exercise as well. Another thing that we did was we purchased some new sensory items, which was good because after construction, so back in April of 2024, we packed up our space and we were closed for about 4 months while we underwent construction. And when we packed up, that was our second time packing up in about a year and a half. And so in both of those moves, we sifted through a lot of our things. We noticed a lot of things that were pretty old, and we got rid of them. And so we were able to purchase all new things for people in our program, which was really great. We've also had some people join our program since we received the grant, and we've been able to purchase like specific sensory items for them, or just things that they really enjoy fidgeting with or playing with, or just things that help them to stay busy throughout their day.
Awesome. I love the story about the the lady who uses the bike and does people watching. Could you maybe shed a bit more of light on the audience that you serve, Kelly, and maybe a story or two that resonates with you where the work that you do has an impact on the individual or the families that you serve?
Yeah, so in our community day services program specifically, which is where we utilize this grant, we serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also serve a lot of people who have co-occurring disorders, so people who also have a mental health diagnosis. So our behavioral health clinic was opened in 2020, and it has been such a great opportunity for people in our programs to not only receive that additional support that is really hard to come by for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, but because of the program supports that are provided and the way that those are billed through insurance programs, it's actually removed a lot of barriers to people being able to participate in a community day services program, which is great. So we have one person who, I want to say he's probably like 24 now, and he's been in our program for about 2 to 3 years. And he is someone who, his mom, who is his primary caregiver, was, when he finished school, mom was like, okay, now I have to quit my job, which means that we're going to be homeless because we have no other source of income. But she didn't have a place for him to go during the day. And obviously he couldn't be left home alone. And so through our behavioral health clinic, they were able to bring him into the community day services program full time, which means mom was able to keep working. They were able to keep their home and all of those other things. So that's been great. The woman who really enjoys using that recumbent bike, she is, I want to say in her 40s, probably early to mid 40s. And she is another person who her niece is her guardian and primary caregiver, and they live in a rural town. And so obviously opportunities are kind of limited, but niece works here in Bloomington Normal. And this young woman was going to work with her niece every day. And so just kind of sitting there all day hanging out. And the niece has shared that since she has joined our program, she's seen her become a lot more social, and she's just seen a lot of growth in her overall. And so she's really thankful for the opportunity to not only have her aunt in this program, but also, again, because of that collaboration with our behavioral health clinic, that has removed the additional barrier of finances and being able to pay for the program as well. So those are a couple of my favorite stories about our program.
It's wonderful to hear these stories, these grants. They seem to have an impact not only to the individual that you're serving, but the families who actually are associated with those individuals as well. So it's a great story. Siddhi and Shloka, who are the board members on this call, sometimes the local grants that we give out, we do that in partnership with our summer youth leadership program called YGC. And Siddhi and Shloka, when they went through the program, they raised funds for the local nonprofits, where the nonprofit gets money not just only from the grant that we give out, but our summer youth leadership program participants also raise funds for the nonprofits as well. So I'm so glad to have nonprofits like yours serving out here in McLean County and helping families who are in need as well. Kelly, we have a little more time. Maybe I'll throw one more question your way. As you think about this impact, sometimes um, the stories go a long ways, but we also try to share the impact of your work too. How do you often usually share the impact of your work beyond these individual stories in terms of what you've done and how the grant money is going?
So we do a lot of advertising through today is actually one of our big fundraisers, our golf fundraiser. And so they will share a lot about statistics and numbers of people who receive services and different success rates and things like that. And then we have another big fundraiser in September where we share a lot of that information and things get out that way as well. But another thing we've started doing recently is we've been doing a lot of commercials and advertising through sponsored ads on like YouTube and Google and things like that. We've started doing, I think last year was the first time we did like an impact report where we were able to send out booklets to our donors and funders and things like that and show them the numbers of what their dollars have helped us to do locally here in McLean County for the families that we support.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time, Kelly and Isa, who is still on the call. I'll just share a couple more things and we can try to bring this to a bit of a wrap. My first thought there is to just remind everyone that for a better tomorrow, we give out half of our funds in the first half of the year. We have another 33-ish thousand dollars that we give out in the second half of the year. If you haven't had a chance to apply for these grants, certainly apply for them. The grant cycle window opens again from July 1 through September 30th. And the link that you need to know is tinyurl.com/FBT-grant. And the other maybe thing that I'll probably mention is that For a Better Tomorrow raises its funds through an event called Kite Fest. I'm wearing that shirt right now. This is an event shirt from a couple of years ago. This year's event, Kite Fest, is on July the 19th, which is a Saturday out here in town at Grove Elementary in Normal. We love to have all families come out there. There's no charge to attend the event. It's a carnival-like environment where families come out and fly kites. We raise most of our funds through sponsors and donors. Last year, we raised nearly $15,000. Half of those funds went towards global philanthropic causes, half towards the local philanthropic causes. And the last thing I probably would mention is Siddhi and Shloka, who are our members of our Youth Global Citizen Committee, and we're still seeking applications for YGC, our Summer Youth Leadership Program. If you have any young people, high schoolers, who are interested in honing their leadership skills and getting more involved in the community from a philanthropy perspective, reach out to Siddhi, Shloka, or myself, or go out to our website forbettertomorrow.org/YGC. Isa, Siddhi, Shloka, and Kaylee, and Sarah, of course, was not on the call. Thank you all for making time on a Sunday. I know time is precious. It's time away from families and all the important work that you do. So thank you for being a part of it. I ask anyone who is watching this telecast after the event on YouTube, if this is the kind of impact that you want to see money create through donations that you make, please do make a contribution to For a Better Tomorrow. We'd love to have an opportunity to create more of this impact out there in the world. You can donate on PayPal at tinyurl.com/helpfbt. Thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll talk to you all soon. Have a good weekend. Bye.